Hi everyone, so this is the second part of how to learn almost anything in 48 hours. So there is this technique, I guess, the smashing scope, and they say this is one of the greatest learning method they created, I guess, and it was devised by British learner entrepreneur Tony Buzan, who also created mind mapping, and his colleague Vanda North. Okay, so there were two guys, they created this method. And so they say, you can remember if you use both sides of the brain. Okay, so you can if you incorporate creativity in your learning, you learn better than just learning for the sake of learning. So the synesthesia senses, this interesting word refers to our senses and sensations. Generally, when we picture something, it is a static image. If I said whiteboard, most people will see in their minds eyes a whiteboard either mounting on a wall or on casters, rather than just seeing the image. If we use our other senses, we can become further engaged and involved with our subject. So I'm going to summarize here. If I tell you a pink elephant, you're going to imagine a pink elephant. Okay? So this is the senses. Though the senses can be the smell. You can learn with smells. Okay? You can learn with an experience. You associate something. It's not just an image, but it can also be music. It can be something you can touch. If I touch the wood, it can remind me something in my past, in my childhood. Okay, so it can be the view, the sight, the taste as well. A flavor can remind you something positive or negative. Okay, so I'm not gonna give any references here because there are many references with the Marcel Proust, for instance, the Madeleine, it's a small cake. Anyway, so we learn when we associate with a sense. Okay, they say now here movement makes a static image dynamic. Using the whiteboard example, we can now visualize it spinning around, moving from side to side, or even growing legs, walking out of the room. The subject could even be you moving around the object. Okay, so we need to add movements. So we visualize something, we smell something, we hear something, but we need also the dynamic aspect of this object. Association, this is what we are talking about. Without association, there is no connection. I repeat, without association, there is no connection. If there is no connection, then there is no memory. So you got it. The secret of memorization, good memorization, short and long-term memorization, is to associate things. Okay? So you want to learn, let's say, I want to learn the word fridge in French. So it's going to be frigo, réfrigérateur. You're not going to go there. You want to simplify things. So you're going to say frigo. Okay, frigo. Frigo. How can I remember this word? Well, I'm going to imagine the fridge moving, opening something, and I'm going to eat something. Like, I really love chocolate mousse. So chocolate mousse, frigo. I'm going to try to associate something positive, nice tasting, the visual, and the word frigo. Okay? Don't worry. It doesn't take too much time. It's going to take a fraction of a second to do that. So frigo, the fridge, frigo, frigo. All I have to remember is a go side or go part. Okay, so you can come up with whatever you want. Okay, frigo. I'm gonna eat my mousse au chocolat. Okay, so visualize a pen next to paper. This is a weak association because there is no physical connection. But if the pen writes on the paper, there is a connection. You can imagine the stuff about, I don't know, if in Harry Potter or any kind of movies like that, one pen was writing on its own on a piece of paper, magically. You can visualize this kind of stuff, something a bit different. But to make this more exciting and memorable, what if the pen scribbles on the paper Ripping it to shreds, writing on paper is a very logical and common thing. The shredding story doesn't occur every day, so it's more memorable. With the brain saying, wow, what just happened? It's true. You need to shake up your brain, show some different stuff. Because if this is just like something boring you learn every day, your brain's gonna remember. So also there's another thing is, how old are you? If you're old, you're more inclined to, follow routines, do the things every day, with some exceptions, of course. If you're younger, well, depending on where you work, where you live, if you live in a large city where you have to work all the time and you're busy, don't really have time to remember stuff, so you're gonna have to come up with your own personal things, but you may need something a tiny bit more, maybe more structured because your life is a tiny bit more chaotic, or you need something a tiny bit more dynamic in order to remember better and faster. So depending on your location, depending on your age, your generation, your background, if you are already busy, if you don't really have time to add an extra curriculum, an extra lesson, you have to learn every week. You need to think about these kind of details. Okay, it's not just one method for all. No, it doesn't work like that. So, sexuality, self, wow. Tony Buzan says we all have a good memory around this topic. So let's use it. Okay, maybe. What we are trying to remember or visualize resembles a certain body part that we like. Okay, there are many ways to use this type of imagery for people so inclined. When I'm working with kids, though, I tell them to visualize themselves as the subject. Imagine being the actual whiteboard. How does it feel to have people write on your face all day? Do you get a kick out of it, or are you stuck and wishing to be free? So I didn't write this stuff on. It's not my book. I would say, the guy didn't really express things very well. I would say, the physical aspect is a touching aspect. Okay, so if we incorporate, let's say, with kids, it's nice. You have to be very dynamic. You have to run. You cannot be seated for a long time. So what you have to do is to be like, okay, well, yes, let's use body paint. Let's use music. Let's use stuff that can help you be more a bit dynamic. Okay, so humor, that works well. Something funny can be a huge help with your visualizing. This doesn't mean you have to be the funniest person in the room. It means use what's funny to you. When I meet someone called John, for example, I immediately picture him sitting on a toilet. For me, that's funny. For others, it may not be, but it is memorable. I believe comedians are often super creative beings because they found ways to communicate a point or to make it entertaining and unique. If you want to exercise your creativity, why not learn more about comedy? This is one way. It doesn't work with everyone. I want to note something, though. Sorry. I don't remember jokes. So it's funny, but I don't remember them. So I would say humor works, but in a very specific way. So be careful with this aspect. Imagination, this is the key here. When we visualize, we usually think of real things in our world. We try and make logical associations with what we are trying to remember. I sat down on the chair, I stopped at the red light, I typed on my laptop. These examples are perfectly normal, but they are not memorable. Again, we need something different. Okay? If we want to have a great memory and become more creative, we need to step outside this logical realm. Instead of just imagining sitting on a chair, how about the chair turning around, jumping, and then sitting on you? Your brain sees this image with stunning clarity precisely because it is an abnormal occurrence. And so a stronger mental image is created. Imagination is your friend that can take you to places and help you see things you have never seen or experienced before. As Victor Hugo so vividly put it, imagination is intelligence with an erection. Wow, that's weird. Yeah, okay. So so far, the book is okay. It's fine. Just so you know, I'm gonna just make 15 minutes of the book, you know, so we can go through. I don't think this is a big book. I think there are just a few pages. So now you can have a better idea of what you can potentially buy, or if you think it's interesting. But what I'm doing is reading, because I have a lot of students, they learn English, they want to perfect English. Um, I think it's good, you know, to do this kind of stuff. And another thing is, you know, to see if the content of this book is really reliable, because, you know, when you see the cover, it's very catchy. It's like, how can you learn and memorize anything in 48 hours? Why 48 hours? Why not like 3 hours? Or why not 10 hours? Whatever, you know. So it's very catchy because the book market is like that. They need to attract you, to get your attention with a cover. And the content, well, you know, as soon as you bought the book, you know, after it's, you read it or you don't read it, it's fine. They don't care. They get your money. Numbers, sometimes we need a bit of order in our visualizations. Number create that order and provide some much needed relief for the logical thinkers among us. That doesn't work for everyone. It works for me. I like numbers. I don't like math, but I'm a numbers person. I count stuff. And I like to, even when I wash dishes, I count everything. I have a very, very special logic on this level. And even when I count stuff, when I do accounting stuff like that, I have my own logic. Okay, I don't like to follow the rules. I know that, I'm aware of it. So I would say, you know, just see if it can work for you. If you're not a number person, well, forget about it. So applying numbers that mean something to you, to an image that can create a much stronger emotional connection to that image. Now, number 23, for example, reminds me of the great sporting hero Michael Jordan. If I see the number 23 anywhere, it reminds me of him and the day my Jordan 5 shoes were stolen while playing inter-school football. For other people, 23 can be a magical number, can be the movie 23, can be other things. Okay, so we can work on this level. To me, number 7 is a magical number. Can also be like the numbers of the days in the week. You know, can be a lot of stuff. But for me, it's a magical number, so I can remember stuff. What I do when I learn, when I memorize a phone number, well, before when we didn't have cell phones, is I was associating a number with a tarot card. You know, like let's say you know, 18 is a moon. Okay, 12 is, so you know, the cards, you have a limited amount of cards, so you can go by just one number, you know, by 12 or 20s, stuff like that, but you cannot really go too far, so you have to play around. Symbolism, that's also very strong. As we've heard, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Symbols often carry a great deal of information at just a glance. They also help communicate a specific message. What would happen, say, if street signs were written in sentences? You wouldn't have time to read them before another sign appeared, and then another, and then bang, you've crashed. Your brain processes images much faster than words, which is exactly how speed reading works. Okay, images. So the last paragraph, because I don't have time. Color, creativity loves color. Used well, colors can help you think and remember very quickly. Instead of visualizing a bright red tomato, perhaps see it as a bright blue tomato. That whiteboard might actually be black and blue, not white and silver. All you need to do is visualize the difference, and that would be enough to make it memorable. But you don't always have to choose a different color to visualize the item. Imagine Uluru in all its beauty against the setting sun. The amazing red glowing as you move closer to it. Okay, so you need to change, to shift a bit your routine. That's a secret. Okay, visualizing and shift your routine and dynamism. Okay, being dynamic. More soon later. Take care.